Welcome back to Daybreak. A Springfield man connects countries across the globe to the Ozarks in a sweet way.
And so we bring back in meteorologist Elisa Raffa, who got an inside look at Askinosie chocolate while taking us to Asia and Africa to discover how weather impacts this treat. Not a bad assignment.
Yeah, it was fun. Chocolate, right? It's something we all know and love, especially on a day like Valentine's Day. And many of us, including myself, we've already started to indulge. But did you know that ocean circulations, that's right, ocean circulations can be key to healthy yields of the cocoa crop?
So this room and what you see behind me is something that I'm really proud of and a lot of work to import these beans.
Cocoa beans, that is. Askinosie Chocolate takes pride in working with local farmers in the Philippines, Tanzania, and Ecuador to source their beans, and they get a first-hand look at how weather and climate impact your favorite chocolate treat. Sean Askinosie, a former criminal lawyer turned bean-to-bar chocolatier, has been visiting cocoa farmers around the world for the past 11 years. 175 pounds of beans roasted a day, 3,000 bars out the door in a shift.
They harvest by taking the pod off the tree, breaking the pod, pulling the beans out of the pod, fermenting the beans, then drying them in the sun, then bagging them up, like what you see here.
The cocoa plant is sensitive, making it vulnerable to small changes in weather and climate. Extremes make conditions unfavorable.
And so the wet, dry, rapid cycling is what's causing the problem.
To the point where the cocoa crop cannot thrive. What causes this wet to dry cycling? One thing is shifts between El Nino and La Nina. Another cause, research indicates climate change also disturbs historically stable weather patterns. Okay, let's back up. What's El Nino and La Nina? Well, El Nino is when we've got these warm ocean waters in the Pacific and they scoot across over towards South America. Now, all those warmer ocean waters here act as fuel for some of these rainstorms along the South American coast. Behind it, there's some colder waters and drier conditions in areas like the Philippines. La Nina, generally the opposite. We've got cold ocean waters moving across towards the South American coast, leaving them with some drier drought conditions because of the warmer waters over here. That will be fuel for some more of those rainstorms over areas like the Philippines.
So if we have an El Nino, it's going to be fine because there's not too much rain, we're getting a good crop, it's dry. But if we have a La Nina, which is what's happening and what's happening now, then we're going to have too much moisture, too much rain, it's going to be too cold.
Askinosie says most of these places don't have the tools to steer excess water out of farmlands. The beans also need to be dried out in the sun once harvested. Another problem, warming temperatures. Remember, the cocoa crop is sensitive. It will not be able to withstand just a few degrees of warming.
It will be a tragedy. And we're going to see a migration worldwide in this equator band. Farmers will be forced to migrate north and south to cooler temperatures where those crops will now thrive.
West Africa currently supplies 70% of the world's chocolate, but experts say by the year 2050, West Africa will be too hot and too dry to produce chocolate on this scale. It could lose up to half of its potential crop. Researchers and large-scale corporate cocoa are making big efforts to save chocolate by finding a way to make it stronger in our changing climate.
The only thing that gives me hope is that in my little way, in our little company of 16 people, we're going to do what we can to help farmers through this and have relationship with them, have community development projects with them, bring students from Springfield to visit them. We're going to do what we can, and that gives me hope.
And the end product.
Gerald, it smells so good. It smells great.
I really learned a lot doing this story. It was just so interesting because I knew some of the facts about weather, but to realize how it impacts something that I love to eat every day beyond just needing an umbrella at the bus stop, I find so fascinating. So what I've done here is the way Askinosie kind of puts their chocolate together, they do it very organically and very much, it's a bean-to-bar chocolate because it's very much focused around the beans from the different countries.
Okay.
So we've got 3 different bars here, one from the Philippines, one Tanzania, and then one one from Ecuador, and they will have the same amount of dark chocolate, but if you taste each one, they'll taste differently, and that's the different impacts of weather and climate for that certain country.
So,
Really
so we're
interesting.
starting with, what did we decide? Ecuador.
Ecuador. We have Ecuador
Am I
now.
eating Ecuador?
Oh yeah. So, but you were pointing out, so same amount of dark chocolate in each
Right.
bit, and that's why I think that's what's something that people might not understand is that yeah, you're going to get the different taste because of that, not just because of they're in different
Some of
spots.
those like small kind of sweetness, bitterness, whatever, those will be a little bit different for each bar. So something really interesting, food for thought as you're chowing down on
Quite
your
literally,
chocolate.
I like that.